Listen, I ain't going to waste your time. I'm not wasting time. I'm starting this episode with a question. My first question is, who scouted Mosquera? Who scouted that man? Who scouted that man? Whoever scouted him, come to the front right now. I want to talk with you. I actually want to talk with you. I got to give you a round of applause. You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. That is a brilliant signing. You know, that is a brilliant signing to the point where, listen, I know it's only been 3 games, 4 games, but you know some people, when you see it, they got it. Pace, strength, good on the ball, reads the game well, and he's only 21 years old, and they got him for 15 million. 15 of them things. 15 of them things. Nah. And I'm paying premium for next man. Nah, man. Nah, you know what? That is a very good signing. To the point, yeah, where, listen, Arsenal fans, don't lie. You lot are probably thinking, you know what? If Saliba leaves, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. If he doesn't want to sign a new deal, we cash in on him. We got Mosquera there. Hey, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you. That guy looks like a good sign. I looked at it, I was like, who's this? Who's this? Honestly, there was one point, yeah, when PSV had the ball. Athletic Bilbao had the ball. They were running, and then I just saw some Donny running from, pace. I was like, okay. You know, that's what you need, especially in the Premier League. You're going to need someone that got pace. You're going to need someone that got strength. You're going to need... They've got one there. That's a brilliant piece of piece of scouting, honestly, for 13 million.
Arsenal squad won them yet another game. Kudos to Mikel Arteta for the substitutions. He brought on Martinelli and Trossard, and both of them won them the game. Martinelli running in behind from a Trossard assist, and then taking on his defender and assisting Trossard. This is how you use your squad. I've said it that if you are going to be a team that will compete on all fronts, Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, you need a wide squad. And that's what Arteta is utilizing. In the first half of this game, it was tight. It was a game that was just being played in midfield. There was not much movement of the ball. Arteta was smart enough to see that, okay, this might not be Eze's forte, because if it was Eze running in behind, I don't think you will have that speed of Martinelli to go away. This is how you use your players. Then the substitutions he made, Martinelli, what a touch from him. Maybe you say, Simon, that's the Bilbao keeper, should do better. But then, Martinelli got his chance and he took it. This is what it means to have a squad. Martinelli as a starter might not necessarily work. Trossard as a starter might not necessarily work. It might be annoying to the fans. But when they are coming off the bench, getting minimum game time, or any space they get, they try and do their best. They show their best. They fight for their place. That is how a healthy squad is built. This game was tight, and Arsenal forced mistakes. If you look at the first goal, they forced a mistake. That was the only mistake that you can say Atletico Bilbao really made. And they made them pay for it. Madueke again, he keeps surprising me. I always hold my head up and say, maybe I was wrong. I will still keep watching him because I had my doubts. But if you look at how he's being utilized now, the fact that Eze has also been bought, that was one of the main things I was like, they spend this money on Madueke. This is sign Eze. Now Eze has been bought and he's playing on that left wing. I was saying, how can he sign a right winger and go and play as a left winger? Now, if he's playing as a Saka backup, then Madueke goes up my rankings as a very good signing. Mosquera as well. This guy looks like he has been playing with Arsenal all his life. And if you look at Arsenal's centre-back depth, from White to Gabriel to Saliba to Mosquera to Hinkapie to Timber, who I think is one of the best right-backs in the world. Very underrated right-back. He doesn't get enough praise. To Calafiori, to Miles Kelly. Most of these players, 80% of these players will start for any team in the world in their defense. I'm telling you.
Strength in depth. I'll say it again, people. Strength in depth. Those are the key words for today's reaction. Arsenal 2, Athletic Bilbao 0. Yes, without they didn't have Nico Williams, but at the end of the day, Arsenal got the job done. And listen, we're going to talk about how Arsenal have actually addressed the problems that they probably would have struggled with the year before that and the year before that. But before we do, make sure you smash that thumbs up button below. Let's get between about 400 to 500 100 likes and subscribe to the channel if we're new. We're trying to get to 23,000 subs. So would really appreciate if you guys get me to that number. But also, listen, we're speaking on Arsenal right now, and I think we need to have a conversation about Mosquera. He's done it again. It's another game where the passing accuracy through the lines, his reading of the game, he has slotted so well into that Saliba role as if he wasn't even there. As if like it's a seamless replacement, and the value of that in the market where great centre backs are very, very difficult to come by, and it looks like Arsenal have unearthed a defensive gem in Mosquera. And when you look at his game, when you look at his position, you look at his strengths in his speed on the ball aerially, he hasn't really shown any weaknesses for Arsenal in his early stages so far in these first 3 games that we've seen them play. And yes, it's very early, but I'm just going off what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is another defensive juggernaut. And I think we'll see how the season plays out when he has to play slightly higher lines, when he obviously drops back, and the different types of opposition he's going to come up against. Because remember, this is a European clash. It's a European game where the football is different. It is a bit more spacious. There is more time on the half time for the attackers. You might get isolated in a few more 1v1s than you might do in the Premier League. And it's a different type of opposition. And remember, Mosquera he is originally from the Spanish league. And, you know, I feel like today was probably a game where he'd probably stand out just because his familiarity with a team like Athletic Bilbao coming from, was it Valencia that Mosquera came from?
It's just finished. Athletic Bilbao 0, Arsenal 2, a Mikel Arteta masterclass. 2 changes, 2 goals. Martinelli, is he back? That is the question I want to ask every single person. Big up to everyone who tuned in for the watch long. We are going to be live straight after this as well for Tottenham versus Villarreal. But you know what? If you asked an Arsenal fan at the beginning of that game, would you take a 2-0 win and a clean sheet? And I've got to be honest, guys, I don't know at this moment in time what penetrates that Arsenal back line. They have not conceded a goal in open play in 5 games. Man United, Liverpool, Leeds, Bilbao, and of course Nottingham Forest only conceded 1 goal, which was a worldie of a free kick. It's clear to see what Arsenal's plan is, and it's clear to see what a lot of managers' plans have been. Defence wins titles. That wasn't the most unbelievable Arsenal performance, but what you have to say is it was efficient. They once again played another team. How many shots did Bilbao have on target? How many shots did Nottingham Forest have on target? I think it was 1. That's a sign of an unbelievable defensive unit. The way they're set up, bearing in mind as well, no Odegaard, no Saliba, no Havertz, no Saka. 2-0 win away from home against a tough opponent in the Champions League. We're going to break it all down this week.
Arsenal can win the Champions League. Yes, I know what you're going to say, but hear me out. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another match reaction, ladies and gentlemen. This one's going to be a lot more expansive and do a lot of analysis as well. So it's not just going to be 5 minutes. Big up to all of you guys. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're ready to do so. Share this video everywhere. Here to talk about this game right here. Arsenal 2, Athletic Bilbao 0. Now, let me address first the elephant in the room. Hussam, how can you say Arsenal to win the Champions League? They've got 0 Champions Leagues. Yes, PSG had 0 Champions Leagues before they won it. City had 0 Champions Leagues before they won it. Chelsea had 0 Champions Leagues before they won it. So just because a club historically has 0 doesn't mean that they'll never win it. Now, the other thing that people bring up is, Hussam, Arteta plays boring football. It's so boring. I was yawning watching today's game. I agree with you. The football is boring. But guess what? Boring football works in the UEFA Champions League. Who says it doesn't work? There's a lot of counter-attacking teams that have won the Champions League before. Many examples of boring sides, boring clubs that have ended up being Champions League winners. I actually think boring football probably suits the Champions League a lot more than it does the league.
in my opinion, because the Champions League, it's a knockout competition. And we saw what Arsenal did to Real Madrid last season. We saw what Arsenal did today as another example.
I told you this season Arsenal are made for the Champions League, opening the campaign with an away win against Athletic Bilbao 2-0 in a very composed and calm performance, and massive changes and massive performance from Martinelli off the bench. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Mosquera as well, and how Mikel Arteta changed the game and how people slot in. No Saka, no Odegaard, no Saliba, no problem. But before we go on and analyze the game and talk about the game and tell you about Arsenal chances in the Champions League, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. This is Footy Judge Mo, and this is your post-match analysis for Arsenal versus Athletic Bilbao in the Champions League, in the opening game of the Champions League. Of course, to open their campaign after they reached the semi-final last season. I actually spoke about how Arsenal are built for the Champions League and how Mikel Arteta's team is so made for this competition this season, and for especially for games like these. I know that it's Athletic Bilbao and people can say it's an easy game. It's not an easy game. It's the opening game. Arsenal found it a little bit tough to actually score the goals, but the goals came off the bench. And I'm just going to give a shout out to number one, Martinelli, of course, who off the bench came on in the system that is a little bit different, where the wingers are not glued to the line. And with a flick and a touch by Trossard, he was one-on-one with the keeper, finished very good as well. And he is so quick. This is where Martinelli thrives.
Arsenal have beaten Athletic Club Bilbao 2-0 in the opening game in the Champions League. Away to Bilbao, it's never going to be an easy game. They're a good team. They're a well-disciplined team, and they did make it hard for Arsenal at times. But Arsenal was so secure and so good defensively that you almost knew Arsenal were going to get a clean sheet. Would it be 0-0? Would it be 1-0? Could they make it 2-0? But Arsenal's depth is what caused the problem. They've got no Havertz, they've got no Odegaard, they've got no Saliba, they've got no Saka. You might be saying, what depth? But they've still got a ridiculous amount of depth. You know, they don't even need to use Wanyeri and Max Dowman today, and they still get a 2-0 win over a good side because their players that come off the bench make an impact. And Arteta got his subs absolutely spot on today. And Arsenal were the better team, Arsenal were the dominant team, Arsenal deserved to win the game. But was it going to be one of those games where Arsenal did a lot, but they just couldn't quite do the final action like we've seen time and time again from Arsenal last season when they got a lot of draws? No, Arsenal were different this season. They managed to find a way to win. Last season, I feel like Arsenal would have drew that game. It would have ended 0-0. But this season, because they addressed their biggest issues in the transfer window, they look different. And look, we're going to talk about Mosquera, how good he was, how good Arsenal were at the back. But the depth is there. The attacking depth is there. And this is going to be a difference for Arsenal. This is going to be what gives them this massive advantage when it comes to potentially going out there and winning games, because they've got the depth to go far in competitions. They've got the depth to win trophies because Saliba's injured, Mosquera means you don't notice. I'd like to see Eze played centrally in Odegaard's absence. I think he's wasted on the left. And I think with Martinelli scoring that goal could give him confidence. Put Martinelli on the left, play Eze centrally. Gyökeres comes in for Havertz, Madueke coming in for Saka. There's not a huge drop-off because Arsenal have addressed their depth.